Okay, so welcome back to Guff Stuff Weekly. My name is Scott.
I'm
Big
Javen.
Guff, and he's Javen. All right, so this week we're talking about painting miniatures.
Yeah, and not about the
Other stuff, yeah.
other stuff that we.
So what about painting miniatures we want to talk about?
Well, how do we get into it?
Well, you gotta go buy a miniature,
Okay.
and you gotta buy some paints and a brush. Or you just dig through your closet and find some leftover paint from Walmart.
Or go to your mother's or grandmother's crafting closet and look for all the paints.
That's true. I think that
are most likely there or not there.
yes. I'm trying to think of how I started. I think I literally started with, holy crud, I don't know, Tester's paints. Back in the day, the old model oil-based enamel paints.
Yeah,
You put on model cars. Oh.
Model cars. That's a good way to get into it too.
Yeah.
The kits are usually like $30 to $50.
Yeah. A little more expensive now than they were in my day.
Yeah. You can still find fairly cheap ones on Amazon and stuff though.
Right.
And then, if you go to your hobby store, like around here we have Hobby Lobbies, Michaels, stuff
Right.
like that. They should have sections where there are models that you can build, and they'll have paint selection. It'll most likely be enamel paints there.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah, in that section, that's what it would be, yeah. Because Tester still has the market on that.
Yep. Now, the other option you could do is go into a gaming store, like a local game store or
Yep.
a Games Workshop store or something
Yep.
like that.
Well, even Hobby Lobby, and I don't know about Michael's because I haven't been in one too much, but they do have the more hobby-ish section that's not models related. They do have a miniature section, or you can buy Warhammer stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've
Yeah.
never seen that in Michael's or Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, I think Hobby Lobby, actually, in the town near us, where we used to live, they had, one time they had a discounted a bunch of, like, Star Wars Legion stuff.
Oh, cool. Well, that's interesting.
I don't think it's, like, something they stock on a regular basis. I think when they just buy, like, a bulk and then they just blow it out.
Yeah, it just comes in and then they sell it.
But they do sell, like, acrylic paints made for miniatures and stuff also, to some extent. Not like brand name stuff, usually, but...
They don't. It's not Tester's acrylic, but there's another brand that's a Hobby Lobby brand that's actually not bad. There's a lot of Fastback, I want to say, or something like
It
that.
might be.
Wicked brand.
Oh, that's that is, yes, that's an airbrush brand.
Yep.
And I use that. I used to, but I still do use that when I was painting pretty much anything, because Wicked is also it's a bigger company that you use to paint cars. You use it on cars, so it's a fade free type paint.
Nice.
It's supposed to protect your paint from fading and stuff. It's a really good quality paint. If you ever had a chance to paint with Wicked paints, you're using an airbrush, you won't regret it. That's a good brand.
A lot of guys I know that do like build fishing lures and stuff like that by hand. They use Wicked.
It's because it's a really good paint. I don't know. I don't know if you guys know, but the good way to tell if a paint is a good quality paint is you take a drop of it and you put it in your fingers and you rub it together. And if you get kind of a gravelly feel, it's probably a less quality paint. But if you get a silky, smooth feel, the more silky, the more smooth, the more quality that paint is.
Because it's the pigments are
ground down more, and you will get a beautiful finish. And I tell you what, you do that with Wicked. Wicked also does stuff called Createx.
Createx, yep.
Yeah, it's their little less brand. It's their like intro to their stuff, which you can still use, but you can feel the difference between the two paints.
Yeah.
It's really quite amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so check out your hobby stores,
Yep.
and then your local game stores.
Yeah.
I believe I got into the modeling / painting by buying a Warhammer box.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing I did. I bought an Island of Blood box set for Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
That's elves versus ratmen.
I think mine was the other one. Mine was the 40K version. The Marines versus the...
At that point, it would have been Marines versus Orcs.
I think. Orcs. I think it was the Orcs, yep. Yeah, Dark Angels versus the Orcs, yeah. That was really cool. And then, I started carrying the stuff here, but that's when I started painting miniatures all the time, other than using my Tester's paints and some generic Walmart paints.
Yeah. Mini wargaming is what really got me into painting, because there's just so much to paint.
Yeah.
That you have to basically... You get good at it through repetition.
Yeah, of course.
And then the fun thing too is like I've painted and built models for probably 5 years without ever even playing a game.
Yeah.
I literally just like the hobby of it.
Yeah, I don't play any games now that I use minis for the most part. I mean, maybe I will again someday, who knows, but I don't have a lot of free time to do it, so I just paint now just for fun. Or somebody commissions me to do it. It's nice to make a little money off your hobby. Pay for the new set
buddy
paints.
who I used to live by, and he's military, and he had all this free time on his hands, and so I brought him a box of Primaris Intercessors one day, and now he's hooked.
Now he's
so deep into it now.
Well, you know, it's rewarding because painting, anybody can paint. It's kind of like a Bob Ross thing. Yeah. Literally, Bob Ross wasn't lying when he said anybody can paint.
It's true.
You just got to follow the basic principles. You don't have to have, you can have a shaky hand and you can do all this and that. If you follow the principles and do step by step, that's literally what I did. I followed the Games Workshop manual that comes in the box when you buy the paints, like the little starter set paints. They tell you exactly what to do. Prime, base coat, and then layers, and then wash, and then more layers. And when you do that, your model just turns out nice.
Yeah, it just looks good.
You can even mess it up, and it still looks pretty decent. Yeah. Better than half the stuff you buy pre-painted from China.
Or you just watch Duncan Rhodes, and
then you don't like the world anymore because he's
so good.
Or Squidmar.
Squidmar's really good too.
You never seen anybody use an airbrush so effectively on painting small details on something.
eBay Miniature Rescues Casey's really good.
Drives me nuts.
I've seen that guy paint some finicky stuff with an airbrush.
It's like, how do you get down and get the little eye details and the nose shading and the ears and with an airbrush? Like, I've used an airbrush. I'm 100% sure I couldn't do that.
I don't know. I think it's just getting so used to how it sprays and stuff that you can just...
But yeah, anybody can paint. It may take you a while to get that piece that you're like, I'm going to take pictures of that and put it on a wall, you know. Like, it may take a while. But I promise you, follow the basic directions, do your 2 or 3 colors, and you'll have tabletop ready minis in no time at all.
I've heard way too many people say, "Oh, I can't paint because I have this," or "I do this." Or,
I don't see very well, and my hands shake. And you know what? I taught a few painting classes over the years, and so far everybody that comes in says they can't paint, and by the time they leave, they're doing fine.
Yep.
You know, are they going to win the Golden Demon Award? No, but neither am I. So, because those people suck.
Well, and painting in 3D is actually, there are harder parts about it.
Yeah.
I would say painting in 3D is easier in general.
Oh yeah.
Painting like a canvas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Picture, because you don't need to artificially draw in depth, and I mean you can accentuate it and like paint shading and highlighting.
Right.
But it's not necessary because it has the natural contours.
Absolutely, for sure. There's different types of things to get into. If you want to get into painting, definitely look at the things you're interested in. I know there was one guy that was painting sometime in here, and he started out doing models like German tank models and World War II military models. And so when I was teaching a painting on how to paint miniatures, which is a little different than painting tanks, mind you, because the concept's the same, but you know, doing the straight lines and the nice perfect lines and stuff, that's a little different.
The techniques are a little different.
Yeah, the techniques are a little different. And by the time he was done, he was pretty happy that he could paint a barbarian miniature without much effort.
Yeah.
By just doing a few techniques. Literally, it's just that easy. Just try it. Spend a few bucks, or just like David said, go to your grandma or mom's scrapbook area and the crafty area, take out some of their stuff and just paint.
I've even seen like they used to sell them all the time in crafting stores. It's like they're like plaster of Paris or like clay.
Yep. Sculpey. Yep. You can do that.
Like rabbits or whatever, turtles, stuff like that. You can paint them up.
Yeah. You know, ceramic stuff. Yep.
It's literally painting exactly the same way that you're doing the miniatures, but just on a larger scale.
Yeah. You just pick out a type. I've seen some people that wanted to just paint like buildings and scenery.
Yep, terrain. And the nice thing, if you want to paint terrain and do buildings, you can turn around and sell that and actually make some money.
Yeah, that's not a bad hobby to get into.
If you just want to do terrain, there are guys that just do terrain, and they buy the expensive terrain, and then they turn around and sell it for 2-3 times as much.
I know I've done that, but all I've done is just prime. Yeah. Literally, I don't even have to paint it. All I have to do is prime it and assemble it, and people will pay almost double the box price just because.
Just because all the work.
That part's already been done.
Yep.
Then they can throw whatever color they want on and call it good.
Yep.
It's quite amazing. It's not a bad way to get into things. Excuse me. So yeah, there's that. You can miniature paint, which is like painting the minis for the mini war games, your tabletop RPGs.
Or Dungeons and Dragons miniatures.
Yeah, tabletop RPGs.
That's actually probably the cheapest way to get into it right now. It's the WizKids.
Yeah, WizKids.
Dungeons and Dragons miniatures.
The other thing, go into your board game closet. You'd be surprised at how many miniatures people don't even think they knew they had. When I got married, I brought some board games in. My wife had a whole bunch of them, and when I started painting models, I'm like, I was tired of trying to find models. I was tired of buying Games Workshop models because they're really expensive at the time, and I'm like, I can't justify buying those all the time to learn how to paint. Like, that was just getting expensive, and I didn't have WizKids at the time. I did buy some Reaper plastic ones, which are fine.
Yep.
But we had a game at home that had probably 200 minis in it. They were just like little horses and little knights on horses and little knights carrying swords and banners.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap. So I burnt hundreds of hours painting those.
Nice. Just
to try. And you could see the progression from step one to the last step. I'm like, well, it's never going to be worth anything now because, I could go back and strip them all and repaint them. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
But it was really like, and then I found other board games. And lots of games these days now, even people are buying like Catan and taking the pieces and repainting them, to add like designs on each of the pieces so they make it custom. You could do that and it doesn't cost you anything because you already have the games.
Or you get games like Scythe or anything by what the heck's the name of that company? Oh, it's gonna bug me. Cool Mini or Not.
Yep.
Cool Mini or Not's a board game maker that makes ostensibly board games.
Right.
But they have minis in them that are just freaking awesome.
Okay. I don't think I've ever checked that out before.
Yeah, they made a Cool Mini or Not. They made like I think they made Zombicide. Don't quote me on that.
Sounds familiar. I think I've heard of it, but I don't think I've actually bought any of that stuff.
Yeah, they made Zombicide. Okay. So they did like all the Zombicide games.
But they make minis for board games.
But the minis that come with their board games are phenomenal.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, a lot of board games these days come out with great minis. Like we were talking earlier about Scythe.
Scythe is... Oof.
The minis in that game. There's Battletech. There's
Battletech's
the
good.
D&D games that came out, like Wrath of a Chardalon, Ravenloft, Talisman, Gloomhaven. I mean, these are some big board games. Yes, I get it. But they're all customizable. Even Clue. You can take those little... well, speaking of painting, there's people that paint Magic cards and Pokemon cards to take the picture and add some flavor to them. And so, yeah, I know that's kind of getting away from the whole... But we're talking painting as a hobby, so this is part of the hobby, right?
Yeah. Cool Mini or Not, they have so many different games. Like, they have Cyberpunk, all this fun stuff.
Nice.
I'm getting...
Yeah, no, and this is all part of the
topic, but
this is all painting. This is all part of the painting hobby. If you want to, you can find something to paint.
Yes.
Even if you don't want to paint minis, well then go paint your sorry board pieces. Draw little faces on them and paint them different colors, and you can do whatever you want. I've actually seen people take Monopoly boards, old Monopoly boards they buy at rummage sales, and they'll paint themed Monopoly boards.
Oh, cool.
And it's really cool. And they'll take it. They're on Etsy. You go on Etsy and search for this stuff, and they'll take it and they'll take a Monopoly board and say instead of being Monopoly, they'll turn it into, say, a rabbit themed world.
Okay.
And so it's all about rabbits, the hole and the carrots and the burrow, and I'm just like, and they're charging $200-$300 for these board games. I'm like, what?
I mean,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that's, it's just kind of the excitement of getting into the world of painting.
Yeah, it's the world of painting is just like the tip of the iceberg,
right.
too. Because it's not just painting; it's hobbying.
Yeah, it's just
crafting.
Yep, and you can make money with it. A lot of people do make money with it, and they pay for their paint crack that they buy. Because then you get into the world of different paints, which we talked about in a previous video, the cheap lines and the expensive lines. And when you start hitting lines that you want, paint lines, I mean, it's not bad hitting lines that you want. It doesn't sound good at all. It's not what I mean, people. Don't listen like that, okay? Getting to the paint lines you want, and pretty soon you're going to find that, holy crud, this paint line is beautiful, this paint line's okay. Some are great for some applications, some aren't. I use some generic Walmart paints for doing huge base coating. Yep. Because otherwise I'm spending $10, 2 bottles of paint to paint one miniature.
The other thing about crafting, I can't remember the guy that did it, but there's he made a Howl's Moving Castle, which is like this massive, huge thing from an anime, I think it is.
Okay.
And he basically made it out of garbage.
Nice.
It's like toilet paper rolls.
Right?
Sorry.
No, that's okay. There's a YouTuber, DM Scotty.
DM Scotty's a good one.
He makes almost everything out of paper towels and Kleenex and old pencils and crayons, and it's just amazing, the stuff. And he's always about the budget, Do the budget.
Yep.
But then he takes just basic things. He makes his own washes and his own inks, and by just taking Walmart paints. And
Black Magic Craft is a good one too.
Yeah, that guy's awesome. I like.
So
him.
there's a really huge wealth of knowledge on YouTube for crafting and then the world of 3D printing too.
That adds
when it comes to miniatures.
Miniatures and terrain.
If you can afford it.
Yeah. That's awesome. It is. You can. It's a big world. I know that one of the guys who play Legion brought in a whole pile of Star Wars 3D printed pieces from the FDM printers, the filament printers. And he said maybe most of it cost him a few bucks a piece, $25 for the whole box of stuff. It's just like, holy crud. And then you go through and you can paint it all. Just have fun with it. A little more process involved in painting 3D miniature stuff when you're talking FDM printers, but it's okay. But yeah, so painting is pretty awesome. Don't be scared to try it. And go I guess Javen said earlier, the best place to get into it is you go to the local game store, because then you'll have people to talk to about it, and they'll have ideas. Go to YouTube, watch videos. Elon Musk said it perfectly. You should never have to go to college or anything because everything's already on YouTube or on video format somewhere. You can learn everything online for free, basically, and same thing goes with your hobbies. Although it does help to have someone to talk to in person. I've learned a lot just from Javen. Javen, I've hopefully learned something from me once in a while. And I know there's other guys who've come through that have learned a lot from painting with us and just going back and forth. And it's pretty satisfying experience to help give somebody that. It's a boost of confidence for somebody who's never, painted before. And even there's a guy who comes in here and he works his butt off. He has painted hundreds of miniatures. And from his first mini to the mini he's done now, you can see there's a difference. Yeah. He's not where he wants to be, but you know what? He just enjoys it. And he spent a lot of money on this stuff. He loves every bit of it. He's a older bachelor, and he's like, yeah, what do I do at home anyway? So he just starts painting minis and just loves it. He's found a outlet that it lets him calm down and relax, and he's not he's not out drinking and partying. He's just painting and having fun. And then he shares the pictures with us, and it's kind of cool. So, I don't know. What else about painting do you want to talk about?
I can't really think of a whole lot. We covered quite a bit.
Yeah, we did. All right, man. If you have any questions on any of this stuff or you want to talk more about it, well, of course, you can always message us directly, I believe, through the whatever form of podcast you're listening this through. If not, you can always find me on YouTube, or you can find us on Facebook. Anyway, until next time, my name is Scott. You can call me Guff. And there we are.